Hey everybody, Evan here from Evan's Detailing and Polishing. What we got in front of us here are green bars. They're all green, right? This one's different, that one's different, that one's different. All three of these, even though they're green, are all different bars. All three of these will react different in different conditions. This one here is a really wet bar. This one is a semi-wet bar, and this one's a dry bar. Wet means it's greasier. Semi-wet means it has some grease. And dry means it's got very little grease. Now what does that mean for us in the polishing world? The wet bars are gonna liquefy in a lower temperature. So if you're in cold areas like Maine, Wisconsin, Canada, your wetter bars are gonna work better in those conditions. This one will actually work down to about 15 degrees. If you're using a torpedo heater, I do know some Canadian polishers that are using torpedo heaters that are using this wet bar down to like 0 and some negative degrees. This bar right here is actually the G16. It's the semi-wet that I use in my shop. The semi-wet means it's not too wet, it's not too dry. It's good for that all-around kind of all year long situation. In Wisconsin, we don't get a whole lot of humidity. We don't get a whole lot of high temperature days. This bar is a great all-around bar. This bar, I use it between 45 degrees in the winter, all the way up to about 85, 90 degrees in the summer. This bar will work up to about 90 degrees. As soon as you get above 90 degrees, this bar starts to get real soft and it starts to melt. The wetter bars will actually liquefy even lower than that. This one right here, actually at about 80 degrees, will start to melt into a puddle. Now your drier bars are great for high humidity areas, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, those kind of areas. And it also works great in high heat areas, Arizona, Texas, and even California out here. The reason for that is the drier bars have a higher melting point, so they can make it all the way up to about 100, 110 degrees before they start turning into puddles. They also don't soak up all the moisture from the air. The drier bars don't get stuck in your buffs the same way the wetter bars do. Your drier bars in your high humidity places, Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, those places like that, when the compound actually gets on the buff, it actually soaks some of the moisture out of the air. With the drier bars, it doesn't soak in that moisture because it's naturally dry. With your wetter bars, you'll end up with a lot of white tiger striping because it clogs up those pores in the high humidity days. This goes with all compounds. When you're ordering browns or blacks or whites, any compound you're looking for, that applies to any of them. If you're looking for a cold weather bar, you're gonna wanna go with a wet. If you're looking for a high heat area, Texas and Arizona, those kinds of areas, you're gonna wanna go with your drier bars. Now, with your browns and your greens, make sure you're pairing them together. Stick with your wets, stick with your dries, or stick with the semi-wets. Semi-wets are the most equal to use across the board. They'll work in most conditions. All these products are all available. Anytime you're talking to your reps, all you gotta do is just ask them for either wet bar, a semi-wet bar, or a dry bar. This is all you need to know for the compounds.